last year, I have accumulated far too many fragrances. My perfume collection has gotten a little out of hand, specifically because I really have been on a little bit of a fragrance journey. I have been experimenting with new scents. I've been introduced into the world of niche fragrances, and that really just snowballed my collection into getting a little bit out of hand. And I wanted to sort of get a handle on my collection. So today I'm going to be showing you guys some of the fragrances that I decided to declutter from my collection, just because overall, I mean, fragrance is one of those things that I genuinely love to wear. I genuinely love actually picking a scent for that day, whether that be according to the weather or according to my mood or according to the actual activity that I'm going to be doing that day. That's super fun for me. However, what isn't fun for me is just having a bunch of fragrances that I'm just genuinely not using. I get a lot of personal satisfaction seeing dents in my bottles, actually being able to use my fragrances. And if something has been sitting there for a year or two and I just haven't reached for it, I know it's time to let it go. So in today's video, I'm going to be breaking down everything that I am decluttering out of my fragrance collection. I'm going to tell you guys why. Please keep in mind that scent is so subjective. Just because I don't particularly enjoy or use a fragrance doesn't mean that you wouldn't love it. In fact, I know that some of the fragrances I'm going to be talking about in today's video are some people's absolute favorite fragrances. So please do not be offended. We all smell things differently. We all have different preferences. We all like to wear different things. So let's go ahead and start off with the heavy hitter, you guys. This is, I think, one of the most expensive perfumes I've ever purchased for my collection. This is the Guerlain. This is their Spiritueuse Double Vanille fragrance. This is from like the Guerlain Premium, like their really bougie line, and this fragrance is expensive. I purchased this completely blind, which let me just say was a mistake. I don't particularly recommend purchasing fragrances that you've never smelled before. If possible, I definitely recommend you guys get your hands on a sample or go into stores or boutiques and actually smell before, investing in a full-size bottle. That's obviously what I should have done with this fragrance because it is so expensive. I love a gourmand vanilla, okay? If it's a straight shot, edible, warm, delicious vanilla, the likelihood of me liking it is very, very high. However, take a little peek at the notes in this fragrance, okay? In the top, we've got incense, pink pepper, and bergamot. That was a 2 strikes, you're out for Ishani. I don't love an incense and I don't love a pink pepper. So that was my mistake. Middle notes are cedar, ylang ylang, Bulgarian rose, and jasmine, and base notes of vanilla and benzoin. All I really want are the base notes, okay? All I really wanted in this fragrance was the vanilla and benzoin. So the fact that I thought that I could get past that incense and pink pepper in the top, it's a no-go for me. And unfortunately, this bottle that I purchased, I even customized. So I literally got my name engraved in it, which makes it that much more silly that I'm selling it. But at the end of the day, I want somebody who genuinely likes this perfume to actually get it at a decent deal. I mean, this is such an expensive fragrance. And, if somebody doesn't mind having Ishani carved in the bottle, at the end of the day, this just isn't the vanilla for me. Vanilla is my number one fragrance love, and unfortunately this one is just not gourmand enough for me. It is a bougie vanilla. Like, you can tell this is a bougie vanilla, and I just don't think I'm that bougie. Okay, my next declutter in my fragrance collection is another unfortunate one, just because this is another bougie fragrance that I smelled one time, but I never actually wore on me prior to purchasing. Yet another pro tip here for you guys. Don't just smell the fragrance, like on a scent strip or something. Put it on your arm or put it on your body before you commit to a full bottle, especially when you're purchasing bottles that are hundreds of dollars. This is the Parfums de Marly Delina Exclusif. This is a fragrance that is so popular online. The original Delina is obviously a fan favorite, and then they have a couple of flankers of it. And this one, which is the Delina Exclusif, is said to be the more gourmand version of original Delina. That's the reason I almost like convinced myself I would love this, because everybody says it's gourmand. And taking a quick peek at these notes, it's definitely not a gourmand. In the top, we've got lychee, pear, bergamot, grapefruit, and pink pepper. Again, that pink pepper, strike one. Middle notes, we've got Turkish rose, oud, and incense. Strike two. There's the incense. That's a no-go for Ishani. And in the base notes, we've got vanilla, amber, woody notes, musk, vetiver, and Evernil. It looks like a molecular note. And I do love a molecular note in my fragrances. Don't know why I thought I would be able to get past the incense note in Delina Exclusif, but I just can't. And honestly, I think I've worn this fragrance one time, and the whole day I felt sick to my stomach. And if you guys have ever used a Parfums de Marly, you know that these fragrances are no joke. Parfums de Marly might be some of the most long-wearing fragrances I have in my collection. Like, if you want a beast mode fragrance, one that will absolutely scent up around you, project, there's gonna be like a sillage, you're gonna leave a scent trail, and you're never gonna get it out of your clothing. If you spray a Parfums de Marly on your clothes are gonna smell like Parfums de Marly forever. Okay, I wanna talk about a couple of body sprays, but the reason I'm still throwing it in here with my perfumes is because these are beast mode body sprays. They are honestly stronger than some of the perfumes I have in my collection, okay? And we're talking about the Lush body sprays. These things are insane, all right? So the one I have here is Yog Nog. I am decluttering this only because while it is a super gourmand, like it is super, super edible, it is super gourmand, it's also a fan favorite of Lush. I just have to say, with the strength of these body mists, I just don't use them. They are so strong, like unbelievably strong. Like, I even was trying to brainstorm a way to like water these down, whether that be literally diluting them with water or diluting them down with some sort of alcohol or something. It's a limited edition Lush. They don't always have Yog Nog. They sometimes come out with it around the holidays. So I figured, instead of me doing a random science experiment that may not work and I may get no use out of it, it's better going to the home of somebody who might get some use out of it, who actually is looking for something that extraordinarily strong. That's the same reason I actually went ahead and decluttered my Sticky Dates body spray from Lush as well. This one I've already sold, so I don't have the physical bottle for you guys, but it was just so strong, you guys. I know there are people that love it. I know there are people that want to smell like spicy eggnog all the time, and for them, I love that this is an option for them. Okay, speaking of Lush, this is a Lush perfume that I am going to be decluttering. This is one that got a lot of hype when it initially came out, and this is the Butterball fragrance. The fragrance notes in Butterball are very interesting to me. It says powdery notes, chocolate, sugar, ylang ylang, and musk. To me, Butterball smells identical to cocoa butter. If you guys have ever used the Vaseline cocoa butter body lotion, to me, it's straight identical cocoa butter, which is not an unappealing scent to me. I quite like the scent of cocoa butter. However, I don't want it as my primary perfume. You know, like if I wanted it on my skin, I could use the Vaseline lotion and then layer another fragrance over it. With a Lush perfume, they are so strong, you guys, that they will become your primary scent. And for me, cocoa butter, or, you know, in this case, Butterball, is just not what I want all over my body all day long. Okay, my next declutter is, I think, one of the most popular designer scents of the moment, and that is Burberry Goddess. I purchased it because everybody was saying, if you love a vanilla, this is the best designer perfume to get. And I just have to say, this was a scent that I had smelled in person and honestly never really fell in love with. Every time I smelled it in Sephora or at a department department store, I never really connected with it, but because of how many people love it, I kept convincing myself that I was missing something. I kept convincing myself that I was the one who was wrong, and I probably just needed to like wear it. Like I needed to do a full body spray and wear it out and about and make this a part of my routine, and then I would get the hype. And I think this was a great learning lesson for me in that just because so many people love this scent, just because so many people are raving about it, and even people who have a similar scent preference to me, I feel like it doesn't smell like me, if that makes sense. You know, when you wear a fragrance that you can appreciate objectively as smelling good, however, you feel like it doesn't smell like you. In terms of the notes, you've got top notes of vanilla, lavender, cacao, and ginger, middle notes of vanilla caviar, and base notes of vanilla absolute. So there's a lot of layers of vanilla in here. There's nothing in here that should turn me off. You know, there's no incense, there's no smoke, there's no booze, there's nothing that I would typically not like. However, with it being said, it's still not a scent that I personally feel like I want to wear. Okay, another perfume that I decluttered out of my collection. It's another classic designer scent, and the reason I got rid of it is because I used to wear this fragrance back in early college, and I think it just reminds me too much of early college. And that is Viktor and Rolf Flowerbomb, okay? This really hit, especially the YouTube content scene really hard back in the years of 2010, 2011, and 2012. I specifically remember every beauty guru back then hyping up Viktor and Rolf Flowerbomb. This is a classic, you guys. It is a very floral tea type perfume. And personally, I did love it back in college. And over the years, my scent preferences have changed quite a bit. In college, I was rocking the floral perfume. Okay, you guys, I loved a floral. I loved a powdery. I loved something like that. Those are not the scents I reach for anymore. I have very few floral perfumes in my collection anymore because I don't want to smell like a bed of flowers. I want to smell like a vanilla cake. You know, like I want to smell like vanilla cake all the time. Another classic designer scent that I also decluttered is YSL Black Opium. I had the Les Parfums version. This is another perfume that I already decluttered specifically because the Les Parfums version of Black Opium is supposed to be the more vanilla, more gourmand version of Black Opium. In the top notes, you've got pear, cinnamon, and green mandarin. Middle notes are jasmine sambac, solar notes, and orange blossom. And then in the base, here's where all the vanilla comes in. You've got Madagascar vanilla, bourbon vanilla, vanilla absolute, coffee, vanilla orchid, and patchouli. I will say there are some fragrances where the vanilla goes a little funky on my skin. The best way I can describe it, this is gonna sound so gross, but it smells like spit. When I put it on my skin and I let it settle for even just like 10 minutes, it smells like someone drooled on my arm and then it's like dried. So it's like someone's crusty, dusty spit on my arm. And to nobody's surprise, I didn't want crusty, dusty spit on my arm. This is one that I actually really loved for a while when I first got it. I even purchased this backup, but I think I'm gonna go ahead and just sell this backup. This is the Philosophy Fresh Cream Warm Cashmere. This is a scent that I really do like, and I think is a fairly safe blind buy if you like warm vanillas. However, the reason I am decluttering it is because of two things primarily. Number one, it doesn't have the best lasting power. So if I'm going out and about and I want to wear a warm, cozy vanilla, I'm gonna reach for something else. And number two is that there's something about this scent that makes me want to wear it more like a body mist, more like a kind of cozy at home cuddling body mist, more than wearing it out and about. And I just feel like for that purpose, I have scents that I prefer over this one. So if I don't prefer wearing this one out of the house, but I also have other vanillas that I prefer wearing in the house, I just feel like this one is kind of getting lost in the shuffle and I just haven't been reaching for it. Okay, this one might be a surprising declutter for some of you guys, but I am going to go ahead and declutter my 3 Sol de Janeiro body mists that they came out with for summer of 2024. These were the limited edition body mists that Sol de Janeiro came out with. You've got Carioca Crush, Summer y Amor, and Beijos de Sol. I do have a couple of Sol de Janeiro body mists that I really, really love. However, the one thing I have to say about Sol de Janeiro is I genuinely do feel like they save their best scents for their permanent line. I just feel like all the really good Sol de Janeiro scents are permanent, and oftentimes when they do these limited edition summer collections or their limited edition one-off releases, they're usually just not as good or not as satisfying as a permanent scent that they have in their collection. And to some degree, that makes sense. You know, like you want to save your best scents for your permanent collection and make them something that people can purchase, fall in love with, and then repurchase. I feel like they know in these limited edition collections, nobody's really gonna fall head over heels for any of these scents that hard that they're typically gonna wanna repurchase them. They probably won't even go through this first bottle. Speaking of limited edition summer scents, do you guys remember the Kayali Summer 2024 mini perfume set launch? They had 4 different scents. There was Capri in a bottle, Maldives in a bottle, Maui in a bottle, and Marrakesh in a bottle. Well, I'm actually decluttering all 4 of those. I only have 2 here for you guys, Maldives in a bottle and Marrakesh in a bottle, because I already sold off the other 2. I feel very similar to this launch as I do with the Sol de Janeiro limited edition launches. Kayali doesn't release a lot of limited edition perfumes. At least I feel like most of the launches they do tend to be around for a little bit. It's not that I thought any of the scents were bad or unappealing. I just still feel like the permanent Kayali collection has so many bangers, you guys. There are so many good scents in the Kayali permanent collection that I felt like all 4 of these, while they all had a little bit of a different story for being very summer appropriate, I still felt like I didn't reach for any of these, even half as much as I would reach for something like Yum Pistachio Gelato or Yum Bougie Marshmallow or like some of the other ones in the Kayali collection. I feel like these just got forgotten in my collection, and I do think that speaks a little bit to a limited edition scent in general. If something is limited edition, the likelihood of me wearing it and falling in love with it is pretty low, because you know, you kind of have a different mentality with something that's limited edition and that you can't readily access anymore. You don't want to use it to excess. You don't want to necessarily use it up because you can't get it anymore. So I think that is part of why I never fell in love with any of these particular scents, is because these are tiny little bottles. And I knew that if I used up this little guy and fell head over heels in love with that scent, I wasn't going to be able to access it anymore. So that just prevented me from wanting to reach for these altogether. Another Kayali, this is kind of a big one that I actually ended up selling as well, is the Vanilla 28. That is Kayali's signature vanilla scent. I know so many people who absolutely love that vanilla, but I just have to say, I had it in my collection for a while. I even let it macerate and get nice and rich and dark. That liquid was so good. If you guys don't know, the more you let vanilla perfumes kind of sit in the bottle and kind of live with them, they get like richer and deeper and they last longer. And vanillas just get better with age. They're kind of like wine, like they just get better as they age. So I really was hoping that that Vanilla 28 would become my signature vanilla. However, I feel like it had far too much floral in it. I don't even think this fragrance has a proper vanilla in it. Let me verify that for you guys before I just am out here spreading misinformation. No, yeah. There's no proper vanilla in here. The top notes has vanilla orchid and jasmine. So that is your only vanilla note, but it's vanilla orchid. It's a floral vanilla. Mid notes in here are brown sugar and tonka bean, and base notes are amber, amberwood, musk, and patchouli. To me, that patchouli was poppin'. It was poppin', you guys. All I could smell was the patchouli, especially once this dried down on my skin after like an hour of wear. The literal non-vanilla vanilla perfume in my collection. Like, it was a true floral after a while, and it just wasn't a vanilla I was reaching for. So that one did get decluttered from my collection as well. I actually went ahead and decluttered the 2 Byredo fragrances I had in my collection. If you guys saw my perfume collection from a couple years ago, you guys know that I had Byredo Bal de Freak and Byredo Flowerhead in my collection. Both of them got decluttered just because I wasn't reaching for them. I honestly think Byredo is just not my house. I just feel like it's not the fragrance house for me. I think there's something about the DNA of a Byredo scent that just makes me not particularly reach for it. And I think that's kind of the beautiful thing about fragrances in general, is that not all perfume houses are going to be for you. In fact, if you find a fragrance house that does work for you, like you like the base DNA of their fragrances, the likelihood of many of their fragrances working out is very high, which I think is kind of cool. So it is kind of a fun little scavenger hunt to find the fragrance houses that you like, the ones that resonate with you and that make you feel pretty, because not everything is going to work for everybody. And I do feel like the 2 out of 2 Byredo fragrances I had, over time I realized I just wasn't reaching for them. This is one that I actually sat on for a while. This was Juliette Has a Gun Lady Vengeance. This became the scent that I wore to Indian weddings. Every time I was a wedding guest, this was the fragrance I would reach for. There was something about this fragrance, I think it was like those rosy notes in it, that really made me feel like I was at an elevated bougie Indian wedding. In my opinion, there are certain scents you can wear for that experience. Let's just be honest. You have to wear a perfume that smells okay going over Indian fabrics and Indian clothing, because as we know, Indian clothing already has a certain smell to it. So there's no way in hell that I'm throwing a vanilla cupcake scent on top of Indian clothes. I know it's a weird description, but I'm telling you, if you know, you know. If you've worn Indian clothes, if you've been to an Indian wedding, you know what I'm talking about. Nobody at the Indian wedding is wearing vanilla cupcake. Like, it's just not happening. A vanilla cupcake cannot hold up in that environment, okay? However, the reason I decluttered Lady Vengeance is because I actually found a fragrance that I much prefer wearing. It makes me feel elevated and pretty and girly, and I have just been reaching for my MFK Baccarat Rouge Extrait de Parfum. All of my Indian weddings, your girl's smelling like this, okay? This is a scent that can absolutely hold up against any Indian outfit. This is also a scent that I wear all the time, okay? Anytime that I want to smell special, I wear my Baccarat Rouge. It's my signature scent. Not a declutter. Never a declutter, you guys. I go through these bottles. Like, I will go through this entire bottle and absolutely repurchase. Okay, you guys, the final items that I'm decluttering out of my fragrance collection are a handful of Bath & Body Works body mists. I want to talk about this really quick with you guys. Bath & Body Works body mists are dangerous. These are items that go on sale often. They release so many fragrances. They put them in really cute packaging. They're very seasonally appropriate scents, and they are constantly coming out with new stuff. And that is a recipe for disaster for someone like me who loves to get into the spirit of different holidays, different times of the year. Like, when it's hot outside, I love a summer moment. Give me a summer barbecue. Give me a pool day. When it's holidays, give me all the Christmas packaging. Throw a reindeer on that. Put Santa on it. I want to see that vanilla bean Noel. But what ends up happening is, especially during these like buy more, save more sales that Bath & Body Works does, I over purchase. And that becomes a problem because I purchase them and then I don't use them. And so I'm becoming very much aware that that has happened, especially over the past like year and a half. So because of that, I've been very diligent not to over consume the Bath & Body Works Body Mist. And the ones that I'm really just not reaching for, I am going to declutter. So a few of the ones I'm decluttering, we've got Firecracker Pop, a classic Bath & Body Works during the summertime. I'm getting rid of Cotton Candy Clouds. That's one that, again, I know is a fan favorite. It's like an airy cotton candy scent, but it's just not one that I'm reaching for. We've got Whipped Coconut Milkshake, and this is another one that I purchased during the summer. The packaging is so cute on this, but I just am not reaching for it. The final one that I picked up in that collection, Strawberry Soda. This is a very, very sugared strawberry, which I thought I would like, but to be honest, I don't wear it. It's far too sweet. Oh wait, I thought that was the final one. I lied. We've also got Watermelon Lemonade, another one that I thought I would reach for because I didn't have a watermelon scent in my collection. And it turns out there's a reason I don't have a watermelon scent, and it's because I'm not gonna reach for a watermelon scent. I literally have never reached for this. So that one's gonna be decluttered. We've also got Strawberry Snowflakes. I think I bought this last year during the holidays, and I'm not quite sure why I bought it. I think I was like, ooh, it's like a light and pretty Christmassy strawberry. But again, I don't think I've worn this even one time, so it needs to go. I over purchased the Ice Lemon Pound Cake. This is one of my favorite Bath & Body Works scents, I will admit. However, during like a semi-annual sale or something, I purchased a backup of this body spray. So I still have one in my collection that I do reach for occasionally. However, I don't need a backup. These are giant. These are 8 fluid ounce body sprays. And if I ever get through the original one that I have of this, then honestly, good for me. But I'm sure by that point, I will have found something else that I love even more. So there's no reason for me to have a backup. Brand new, that's gonna be decluttered. And I'm decluttering a couple of these from this, like, what was this line called? Oh my gosh, I'm completely blanking. It's the line that's like inspired by high-end designer fragrances. What is it called? It'll come to me. But we've got If You Musk, which is supposedly a dupe of Glossier You. I thought I would like this, but it's far too musky for me. I don't like this, and I don't reach for this. And Loyal to You. This one was a relatively recent purchase, and this is supposed to be the dupe of Dolce & Gabbana Devotion. Again, it's kind of like a lemon vanilla type scent. And objectively, I like it, but because it's inspired by the actual perfume, it has a little bit of a floral note to it, which the Ice Lemon Pound Cake doesn't have. And I prefer the straight gourmand. Like I don't want the floral. Oh my God, Everyday Luxuries. Is that what it's called? Everyday Luxuries. That's what that whole collection was called. They've released a bunch of like high-end perfume dupe body sprays and body lotions and stuff like that. That's where those last two were from. Everyday Luxuries. I knew I would get it before the end of this video. Congrats to me. So that's everything, you guys. Those are all of the fragrances that I am decluttering from my collection. Quite a few. There are quite a few here. There are quite a few that I've already decluttered. And you know what? I just have to say that it feels so good to declutter stuff out of your life that you're not using, whether that be makeup or fragrance or even clothing or shoes. Like if you're not wearing it, if you're not using it, if you're not enjoying it anymore, get rid of it. There is something so satisfying about getting rid of the stuff that you're not using anymore, because honestly, there's nothing worse than occupying space in your life and in your cabinets and in your closet and in your makeup collection of things that you just don't reach for and things that aren't bringing you joy. And if you're not using it or loving it or wearing it, get rid of it, okay? Because trust me, you're not gonna regret it. So there you have it, you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think of the items I'm decluttering. Is there anything here that you're surprised about? I'll also have my Mercari linked down below in case you wanna get your hands on any of this stuff, because I'm telling you, I'm trying to just sell some of this stuff off. So you're welcome to make me an offer at my Mercari if you want. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and I will talk to you guys in my next video very soon. I'll see you then. Bye.